Hello, everybody. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. I thought I'd do a little update video on the Hailey Dunn case. The latest news story that I can find online here come from KCBD, and this one was right here at the 1st of July, about 8 days ago or something. And it's showing arrest warrant withheld in Hailey Dunn case, and it says a warrant withheld in Shawn Adkins case because they arrested the mother's boyfriend, Shawn Adkins, and you can even read it there. Typically, anytime an arrest warrant contains information involving the victim. But anyway, for some reason, they're withholding this information on the arrest warrant. About a week after it was announced, made national news, that Shawn Adkins was arrested, I created a video. I'm going to show you there. Actually, I made a phone call. I called the Mitchell County DA office. That's who arrested Shawn Adkins. And I told them that I had documented 10 people with recorded phone calls, conversations, print screens, emails, etc., with information on Hailey Dunn. This is who, where, when, how. I mean, just a ton of I think, information that is very, very important for the investigators. But I got the answering machine and they never called me back. It's been a couple weeks. The DA that arrested Shawn, and I told him I had all this evidence, this information for him. Okay, so anyway, that actually I recorded that when I called them, and that way it can be denied. I'd actually made a recording of it and put it in that video. But what I also want to show you, I made about 26 videos since 2015 on Hailey Dunn, and there's a connection between this girl's murder, which, she was disappeared from Colorado City, Texas in 2010. It's about 80 miles from where I live in Midland. And the connection back to my home, or me, is in, I was shot in January 2012. And then the next year in March 2013, actually, I think it was March 14, 2013, I emailed the Department of Justice Safe Child Project, and I suggested that they come here and they look in the secret underground homes here for clues in the disappearance of Hailey Dunn. And that was a long time ago. Of course, now multiple people are documenting saying them underground homes are here. It was put in for the Bushes. They're $1 million. There's 4 of them. They're 3-bedroom, at least 25-foot deep, had pedophile party, all kinds of information. Even a guy running for sheriff was documented saying our last sheriff used to hang out down there. That's where we believe the oil show parties were held and the little girls believed to be murdered there, etc. Okay. Anyways, 2 days after I wrote the Department of Justice, her remains were found in Scurry County, and she'd been missing for over 2 years. As soon as I suggested they come here, oh, we found her, that's real coincidental and very odd timing, And so since then, I've documented all these people, saying with information on Hailey, saying that she was killed in Odessa, actually kidnapped in Colorado City by some gang members, taken to Odessa, and that's what I said a minute ago of who, where, when, how. There's just all kinds, and it's not Buddy said because I'm like recorded people, so they can listen to the recordings. It's like, oh, he's crazy. No, I'm not crazy. 2, these are recordings. So if I said that, Allison said that Hailey was buried in the backyard of a former Odessa police officer, I've got a recording where she was recorded saying that, and so I think that's important to this case. Anyway, here I'll just quickly go over these 26 videos I made. 2 Hailey Dunn witnesses, that's a new one. The arrest in Hailey Dunn's case, that was the day she's arrested. Hailey Dunn murder, who, where, and how. Hailey Dunn put in a septic tank. Hailey Dunn witness is now dead. These are all recent ones. So you can see the date on that one. That was in November 2020. Jackie Thompson heard on the police scanner. That was Odessa police officer. The drug recounselor, Hailey Dunn murder. And that's about Christy Otts. Hailey Dunn in Midland, Texas here. Billy Dunn was asked, she thought Shawn was involved in the disappearance. Hailey Dunn killed of her family drug debt. That's a real interesting one. How is Hailey connected to Midland? News West 9, Hailey Dunn drugged in Odessa. Hailey Dunn timeline, that's the one I share all the time. Hailey Dunn person of interest short list. Hailey Dunn the underground facility. Hailey Dunn murder, new information. Hailey Dunn, and we're into 2018 now. Woman says Hailey Dunn buried in cop's backyard. That's a pretty incredible. Right? Hailey Dunn, the whole story. Hailey Dunn miracle. Hailey Dunn new person of interest. Letter to the witness. Hailey Dunn murder confession. One of my very first ones right there. That was that drug rehab counselor. And then one of the first one there, unexplored Hailey Dunn leads incredible story. and that's where I was explaining what I said earlier about I had wrote the Department of Justice. So anyway, just let you know that I have a good understanding of the Hailey Dunn case, and so I want to show you today what I posted. There's my YouTube if you want to go watch some of them videos sometime under Buddy Webb, and so here I just did this and posted this today, and what happened was almost a week ago on Thursday, I got a call from a lady, and she didn't give me her name, but she said she'd watched some videos, and she asked me if I was okay talking to Shawn's attorney. And I said, sure, because we just want the truth to come out, right? And I have all this information. And then I didn't get a call from his attorney. And that's the same thing that happened when I called the DA's office and said, I have all this information, recordings, phone recordings, I mean, I got people that said they talked to Hailey, I got a woman that described the moment that Hailey died on the phone to me, and it's just incredible. All, this information just all meshes up together, and, with all these people saying she died in Odessa, it's incredible. But here is today's short Facebook post, and I wrote this. I said, Raina Brott told me that she believed Hailey Dunn was killed in her home at 6619 Cloudcroft in Odessa, Texas. She had asked me not to share this in the public as she was afraid for her life, so I emailed our messages to Midland Chief of Police Seth Herman, and 6 months later, she was dead. This home was later burned down, and it might have been burned down before she contacted me, but it was after Hailey had died. The home burned down. Tisha Brumley told me that her niece lived down the street from the home where Raina's home was located on the same street, and she had talked to Hailey 2 times, talked to her, not just seen her, talked to her. And one at that house that Raina was at, and the other was another house out in the country. And she said that she was told they had put Hailey in the septic tank after she died, but then they moved her over by Big Spring. Okay. And I have print screens and recordings on that. Allison Frazier was recorded talking to Hailey Dunn blogger, and she said that Hailey had been buried in the backyard of former Odessa police officer Jackie Thompson. Jackie later went to prison for distribution of meth, but was released earlier because of COVID. I wondered if that home had a septic tank. This is some of the evidence that I had planned on giving to the Howard County DA's office since they made the arrest for Shawn Adkins, but it's been over 2 weeks and they've never called me back. That's what I'm posting in the public. A lady called me last week asking if I would speak to Shawn's attorney, and I gladly agreed, but once again, I didn't get a call. Something very fishy is going on with the Hailey Dunn case. And like I showed you, the latest news articles is they're withholding the information from the warrant. Okay, so I put links to three of the videos. Hailey Dunn, witness, now dead. That's the Raina Brott story. Hailey Dunn was put in a septic tank, and that's where Tisha told me her niece had talked to Hailey twice. Okay, and then buried in the backyard of Odessa cop, and that's Allison Frazier, where it was recorded saying that Hailey was put in the backyard, and you can hear her say that. I have the recording. Okay, and then here. This is a print screen I did. It was from an Odessa American News article. And what they wrote was a former Odessa law enforcement officer was sentenced to 17.5 years after pleading guilty to possession of 500 pounds of methamphetamine with intent to deliver. And there's a picture of Jackie Thompson. Okay, and I believe he was friends with them Aryan Brotherhood gang members that are alleged to be, involved in the kidnapping and taking Hailey over to Odessa. Okay, so there's that. That's a link to that video. Then my first comment here, drug counselor Christy Otts said that Brett Bushman told her that they buried Hailey on a ranch outside Odessa, and also wondered if that was Jackie's ranch. Okay, now that's not what Buddy said that she said. I mean, I have multiple screenshots from what Christy said. Here was from her Facebook, but that was Allison. She was using a fake name. I mean, that was Christy Otts using the fake name Allison. But she'd also contacted me on YouTube and sent me emails too. This is just the short story. And I just read this to you what Christy, because law enforcement can talk to Christy. She went to law enforcement. She went to Odessa PD, Midland PD, and the Midland FBI, and then all of a sudden they called her crazy because that's what they do. That's modus operandi for covering up crimes and murders. Is oh, they're crazy. And no, she this was a drug rehab counselor. She's very serious reporting the murder of a child. And anyway, she wrote me and she said, Hey, I just ran across your video you did concerning Hailey Dunn. That little girl is where my entire life changed. My trouble started and my kids got taken away from me. I got her murder confession while working at Turning Point. The guy said she was traded by her mother for a drug balance of $135 worth of meth. While she was in the care of the dealer, she flipped out and they shot her up with something. She overdosed and died. The guy who confessed to me said he took her back to her mother and they stuffed her into a box. He described the way they had to bend her and break her to fit. Then they buried her on a ranch outside of Odessa. Okay. And so I wondered if this ranch outside of Odessa is the same one where Trisha's niece had talked about. Okay. Maybe it was Jackie Thompson's. Okay. So I'm going to show you the next comment was Billy told me that he had been to Jackie's ranch many times. Okay. That's where I'm putting that together. I'm going, really? Ranch, huh? Okay. And here's Billy Jack wrote this on my Facebook. Says, I knew them both and I do know Jackie was not a murderer. Okay. I've been given a huge amount of evidence about the Hailey Dunn murder, but nobody has told me that he murdered her. I did hear that she was murdered in her backyard, and I put a link, here to, and this is an interesting video, talk to Scurry County DA office, and that was who had the investigation, and that's a couple years ago. There was a credible amount of information. I recorded the phone call when I called the Scurry County DA. Now it's at the Howard County DA. Okay, but then Billy says, I've been on his ranch numerous times. Nothing was buried there, and I don't know, how you know that unless you dug it up, but that's what he said. Gina Harrison, the sister of Jackie Thompson, told me that if Hailey had been buried there, then he didn't know anything about it, and that's good to know, right? And anyway, here's Gina Harrison. Buddy, please stop your trash talking my brother. And as you know, I don't know this man. I don't know any of these people. What I did was record phone calls and take screenshots of emails and things other people said, and because they had to do with the murder of a child, and here she is slamming me, right? And I'm trying to solve the murder of a child here that I believe is connected back to my house. Okay, he's doing his time, and you're just spreading rumors. If for any reason Hailey was buried at his home, I promise he knew nothing about it, and I just thought that was an interesting thing to say. So anyway, we got Gina Harrison saying, well, if Hailey is buried there, if they find something on his ranch, he didn't know anything about it. Okay, and so that settles that, And then finally, the Odessa American posted that former Odessa police officer Jackie Thompson got 17 and a half years of pleaded guilty to possession of 500 pounds of meth with intent to deliver. I believe they got out early because of COVID, and I know he was friends with them gang members because I've talked to Allison, and so I knew he was friends with them people. But here was in the news itself, OAOA.com, former Odessa cop sentenced to 17 and a half years, guilty of possession of 500 pounds of meth with intent to deliver. The Odessa American has recently been deleting, articles that I post, I found and posted as evidence for different videos going, okay, here's this, here's what the Odessa American, and I post it and then they'll go selectively delete it. They did that. Like the previous owner of my home, Mike Lawhon, he died the week before the 2008 oil show started and right before I moved here. And they posted a death notice saying he died in Fort Worth. And then 4 days later, they posted a second death notice and they changed the location of death to say he died at his residence. Well, I made a big deal out of that. I got print screens of it, made videos of it, because my neighbor told me Mike died at this house in Midland. But his death certificate's in Fort Worth. And the Odessa American has these conflicting, they changed the location of death, have 2 death notices. Well, they recently deleted both of them death notices. That's what I'm saying. And this article, if you look it up, may be deleted, but I have a print screen of it. Anyway, I just want to give you an update on the Hailey Dunn case. I don't know what's going on here, but something. I wish somebody, if they want this information, I have a lot of information. I think that could lead to solving this girl's murder. This Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.